Thank you for joining me. I've got another game for you from the Tata Steel Masters. This game played just yesterday. This is the game that determined who won the entire tournament. So we have Anish, Giri, rate number 6 in the world, and I believe Richard Rapport playing the black pieces. He's in the top 15. So these are two of the top grandmasters in the world. Anish Giri rated at 2764 before the tournament, and Richard Rapport rated at 2740 just before the tournament. Let's go ahead and get right into the game. Anish playing the white pieces begins with pawn to e4. We have c5, the Sicilian defense, knight to f3, d6, and now pawn to d4. This is just main line. It's happened tens of thousands of times in the Sicilian defense. We have c captures on d4, knight captures on d4, and now knight to f6 by Rapport, knight to c3, and now knight to c6 by black. Bishop now to g5 by Giri, and now pawn to g6. So we have the dragon variation of the Sicilian. This is the Richard Rapport dragon variation. We have bishop captures on f6 is most often played in this position, as after e captures on f6, we have an isolated d pawn. So that's a weakness for black right here in the opening. Giri now plays bishop to b5, best possible move. We have bishop to d7, as is most often played in this position. And now Giri moves his bishop back to c4, which normally would not be an optimal move, but as white is mostly developed, that's fine. It does suggest that knight d to e2 is a better move, but bishop to c4 is fine. Rapport now develops his dragon bishop to g7, and now we have knight captures on c6 by Anish, bishop captures on c6 by Rapport, and now castles by white, castles by black, and now queen to d3. And this variation again has been played before. In fact, at this point there has been 2 games played to this variation. In the other game they did also play rook to c8 as played here by Rapport, but in the other game bishop to b3 is played, and in this game Giri plays knight to d5. So it is as of move 13 that we have a brand new game, never been played before. Now Rapport plays rook to e8. We have pawn to c3 by Giri, and now bishop back to d7 by Rapport. Bishop back to b5 once again by Giri, and we have bishop to c6 by Rapport. Now bishop back to c4 once again by Giri, just doing some dancing around. They're nowhere near time control, so I'm not sure what all this dancing around of the bishop is about. They're not trying to gain some extra time on their clocks or anything, but we'll continue. We have bishop back to d7 again by Rapport, and now rook to e1 by Giri. Pawn now to f5 by black, and now bishop back to b3 by Giri. Pawn captures on e4 by black, and now rook captures on e4 by Giri. Bishop to f5 by Rapport, suggesting that this is an inaccuracy. Instead, rook lifts to e5 would have been a better way to play for black, but we'll continue. We have rook captures rook on e8 by Giri. Queen captures rook on e8, and now queen back to d2 by white. Bishop to e6 by Rapport, and now rook to d1 by Giri, and this is saying it's an inaccuracy. He should have instead pinned the bishop to the queen, but we'll continue with what actually happened on the chessboard. We have queen to d7 anyway by Rapport, and now we have pawn to h3, keeping that bishop out of the position by Giri. Pawn to b5 by black, and now queen to f4 by Giri. Rook now to c5 by black, and now knight to e3 by the super grandmaster playing white. We have bishop to e5, best possible move in the position for Rapport, attacking the queen. Queen's got to reposition. Giri moves the queen to e4. We have king to g7 by Rapport. This is being called a mistake. Instead, should have moved his queen to c6, offering a queen trade. But we will just continue with what actually happened on the chessboard. Giri continues with pawn to f4, attacking the bishop. The engine likes better capturing the e6 bishop, but once again, we will just continue with what happened on the chessboard. Rapport moves his bishop back to f6, and we have pawn to g4 by Giri, pawn to h6 by Black, and now bishop to d5 by Giri. Bishop captures on d5, knight captures on d5, and now rook to c4 by Rapport attacking Giri's queen. Queen moves to f3, although it may have been better to put the queen on d3. We will continue. Queen now to e6 by Black, and now pawn to f5 by Giri. This is the best possible move in the position. We have pawn captures on f5, and now knight back to f4, attacking Black's queen. Queen to e5, best possible move for Black, and now knight to h5 check. And this is a pretty dangerous situation here for Black. And Rapport is down to just 10 minutes on his clock. Meanwhile, Giri has 23 minutes on his clock at this point. So it kind of makes sense that he does make a mistake here. Rapport uses just over a minute to make this move, and it is an absolute blunder. Completely game-losing move. There's really... Yeah, this is really a difficult position after he plays this move because of rook captures on d6, which cannot be captured by the queen, because if you do, then queen captures f5 is checkmate. Instead, he should have played king back to g8, and we'll take a look at that variation now. So instead, Richard Rapport should have played king to g8. We would have rook then to f1 would be best for white. Bishop back to d8 would be the best move for Black to play. Queen captures on f5, best for white. Queen captures queen on f5 by Black. Rook captures on f5. And this would have been a much better position for Black. Definitely some drawing chances still on the board, if not outright wins. Although Black's pawn structure is pretty terrible, as we have all these isolated pawns. We have 3 isolated pawns. Meanwhile, White's pawn structure much better. It's difficult to say who would win this position, as Black does have the bishop versus the knight. But yeah, Giri's pawn structure is far superior. Anyway, let's continue with what actually happened on the chessboard. So Giri blunders and plays king to g6 here. And as we saw, Anish Giri spends almost 4 minutes coming up with this move, but this is clearly the most powerful move in the position. It says it's brilliant. Really nothing to be done here. Again, you cannot capture the rook because queen captures f5 would be checkmate. So what do you do here? Well, Rapport goes with king to g5. Best possible move in the position. Just trying to fight on here. Giri moves his rook now to d5. Again, best possible move in the position. Harassing Rapport's queen. Queen to e1, check. Best possible move for Black, but just king to g2. And now bishop back to e7 by Black. And now Anish goes ahead and captures the f5 pawn. King now to h4 by Rapport. And now Anish plays queen to g3 check. And it is in this position on move 39 that Richard Rapport does resign the game, giving Anish Giri a clear win. So he got 1 point on this one. This puts him up by ½ a point in the tournament. So that means that Abu Sharaf would need to at least get a draw in his game to tie with Anish Giri, but he actually lost that game. So Norbek Abu Sharaf, who has led the tournament and was undefeated up until round 13, did actually lose his game to Jordan Van Forest. So Anish Giri has actually won his first ever Tata Steel Master Tournament. He's been to about a dozen of them. He has been runner-up in 5 tournaments in which he was undefeated in. He was undefeated in the 5 other tournaments, but never actually won the tournament. And this one, once again, he was undefeated. But yeah, Anish Giri, the Tata Steel Chess Masters champion. And this definitely raises his rating, and yeah, his overall position and ranking in the world will actually change probably fairly dramatically after this. Anyway, thank you for joining me for that. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, as I will be doing a game review every day. I'm also covering chess tactics. And if you'd like to take classes with me, I am doing group and individual classes through Zoom. So if you'd like to join my virtual chess club, please contact me. I'll put my email in the description. Anyway, thank you all. Take care.